accidentally turned the video off. So if you spy on someone 24 hours per day, then naturally at some point you must get tired of that person, right? I mean, I would get tired at some point, and I'll be like super annoyed, like, oh, why do I have to look at this person all the time? Wait, I don't have to look at that person. Oh yeah, right. I don't need to look at that person. It's maybe I should understand that I'm the one spying on that person. Oh, maybe it's not even that person's fault that I'm spying, right? Okay, that's introspection. So I'm making a video. Yes. Not doing video chat with Danny. So, no, I'm setting the record straight on a couple of issues that are terribly, terribly misunderstood. Okay, so, there's a difference between self-love and self-obsession. Self-obsession is neurotic. It is a neurotic act out. Self-obsession would be anything from, like, I don't know, like maybe looking in the mirror all day long. I look in the mirror sometimes, but not all day long. Okay? I don't. So, self-obsession is when I constantly have to be in the movies or in Hollywood, or constantly I have to be the center of attention, and all that is histrionic, by the way. Yeah, let's talk about histrionic, okay? Frank. Don't you have histrionic personality disorder? I think you do, right? So, and there's a lot of people with that. Yeah, I have a little bit histrionic. There is a certain percentage of histrionic, okay, and borderline and all of that. But that doesn't make me Machiavellian or cluster B, even if the Merck manual has borderline and histrionic all on the same page with cluster B. I don't agree with that, because just because someone is a bit histrionic, or a lot histrionic, there's a lot of histrionic people in the world. I'm not going to mention names because I don't want to slander those people that I love very dearly, that are in Hollywood, that care very deeply about things, right? There's a lot of them. They have a lot of histrionic behavior, they want to be seen, they want to be adored, and I don't judge them at all. Particularly women have this tendency. So, and yes, I fall into this, and this is neurotic, okay, and I try to catch myself in the act and tell myself, okay, I'm doing histrionic, so I don't want to be falling into this pattern, okay? I don't like doing this. I don't like to constantly be posting photos or something on social media, which I don't, okay? I post photos of him. I sometimes show photos of the Papa Dog and Kenny, or old videos that I dig up and stuff like that. So I try real hard not to, although then the hormones come into play. I want men to see me, I want someone to love me and all of that. And yes, the neurotic aspect is there as well, of wanting to be liked all the time, and that becomes neurotic. Okay, a lot of people have that. That doesn't mean they are automatically put into the same drawer or file as all cluster B, but the Psychiatric Association does that. They put all of these people in the same file and in the same group, and that's wrong because they're not, obviously. I personally only put cluster B types of act outs that are mean, that are selfish, that are making the world suffer. So I put them into this specific group of cluster B. The other ones, they may also have the other characteristics of borderline and definitely they're all narcissistic. I'm a vulnerable narcissist. Okay? So the mean cluster B ones, they're the predatory narcissists. So that is much more neurotic. And again, this is not a judgment from the higher perspective. It's a judgment from the community perspective, because they are the ones hurting the community. They're the ones making other beings suffer. And that has to be talked about. This has to be addressed, obviously, or we can't fix this problem. We can't make it better. So we have to talk about it in order to fix it, in order to introspect and see what's going on. I have to introspect into my own mind and see, oh, this is what I'm doing wrong. Okay, if I don't do this, how can I even grow and repair myself? How can I heal if I don't recognize my own act outs and just continue with the act outs? Then I'm just gonna drive myself further and further into the mental illness. That would not be good. Like OCD rituals, which I do, and stuff like this. I have to constantly monitor myself with this and recognize, this is what I'm doing. Let me sit down on the couch, and how does it feel if I don't do those rituals? How does it feel if I just cry over the fact that I'm doing rituals, right? So then I can cry over the fact that I have mental illness, and then I'm back on the healing track. If I can say, oh yeah, I've been doing this again. This sucks, this is painful, this is a struggle. Or if I try to, which falls into the histrionic, if I try to struggle with someone to love me, if I would constantly be running after the people who are snubbing me, or if I try to constantly beg for love or show my photos or whatever, or give in to their demands that are very disrespectful towards me. Okay, so, and all of this is not a judgment, because I have had some deeper insights into all of this lately. Particularly within the last couple of months, I had some deeper insights into all of this, and I see where people are coming from. They're coming from pain, they're coming from, like, they're on fire, they are running away from their pain, they are trying to medicate themselves with porn, and they forget the women are actually here for their own reasons. Okay, so by becoming addicted to porn, those men think that women are trashy, usable objects. They're sex dolls, and that's all. And they should comply with them. They better comply or else, So they're completely carried away with this act out against women. Okay, and then they wonder, and then they get really upset with the women that they walk away or that they don't feel loved, and they never look into the woman and see how she feels about all of this, being used, being made into some kind of sex slave or something, never being listened to, never being understood, never heard. And just objectified and used just like a doll. And it doesn't feel good. But the man is completely carried away by an act out, and he just wants to run away from his pain. He just wants to, the blue god agrees, he just wants to numb himself. He wants to anesthetize himself with the pornography, with her photos, and it goes to the point where he even anesthetizes himself with her crying, and then that turns him on. And that's very, very neurotic. We have to look at it, okay? We have to look at the facts with all of this. This is not a judgment from a higher perspective. This is an observation, and this is kind of more like a warning to all of us. It's a wake-up call, it's a warning in terms of a wake-up call. It's not an ultimatum or a threat. It is a warning to you, to your own health, to the health of the human species, where men are simply objectifying women, making them into slaves, and no longer seeing that they are living beings that live here for their own reasons, that have their own needs. Okay? So, and that's very, very horribly sad. This neurotic movement that is happening worldwide. And social media in general are not making this better. It makes it worse because of the way people use social media. But they don't know better. They're carried away with all of this. And all of this is very, it's very worrisome, all of this, when I see this. But there's a handful of people that will recognize this, and that want to make it better, that want to not be on the internet all the time, that want to do other things. Women are on the internet this is just a very rough generalization. I'm not generalizing everyone into this, but women tend to be the ones showing themselves histrionically, and I have done it. I know how that feels. Okay, I know how it feels. I want to be loved, and men tend to be gawking and pleasing themselves with all of this, and it is an act out. This prevents real communication. It prevents friendship. It prevents people from going out, meeting people. Men are afraid of being rejected, and women are afraid of being killed. And this is the general statistics of it. Okay, I'm terrified of being tortured physically. Okay, so I'm afraid of men. What I see on the internet is very, very frightening to me. I see the violence, in Islam in particular. I see the violence in the black communities, in the Latino communities. It has to be talked about. This is very serious. There's also a lot of white men who are violent, okay? I'm not generalizing this altogether, so there are statistical tendencies, okay? So there are some demographics where the violence is off the charts, okay? And we need to face it, we need to look at it, and we need to figure out what we can do to fix this, to heal this. And again, all I can offer to people is sit down in meditation and introspect. You have to do it, I cry. I have no other choice. We have to do it. Okay, you have to introspect. You have absolutely no other choice. Act outs are not working out at all. It's not working out. So you have to take time for that, and you have to quit social media for a couple of hours per day. You have to, okay? And when you go back on social media, go on it mindfully and actually have a conversation with a woman or with the woman that you have lust for. Have a conversation with her. Like ask her, how do you feel? And really mean it. Tell her how you feel. You can tell a woman that you have lust for her, okay? We like that, okay? But don't make us into a trashy slave object. Okay? That doesn't feel good, that makes us feel used. That makes us feel unloved. And that depersonalizes the situation for us. Women are into unification, are into family unit, are into friendship, are into a communion, not into this cold fetish lust. Okay, we have lust, but our lust is connected to love. Okay, well, I don't know about all women, but the vast majority of women feel this. It means something to me when I have a sexual exchange with someone. Okay, it means something to me. That's a connection that means something, and for me, it's important that this person cares about me and how I feel. Very important. And if I feel like that guy doesn't care, he's just after the photos or videos, or showing myself to him naked in a video chat, and if I don't do that, then he walks away, that makes me not feel loved. That makes me feel abandoned. And that's very disrespectful. And I'm not the only one who feels this way, okay? Most women feel this way. And this is where the problem is between women and men. It's like this gap between us is widening because of social media and because of how people use social media. Because of the acting out and the objectification and the coldness that comes with that. So we need kindness and warmth, with the man who we interact with in a romantic or sexual way. Okay, it's very important to us. And that's also that's genetic, that's evolution. The woman is the family keeper, the family protector, the child protector. The woman needs a man who is good with her dog and child. My dog is my child. If you don't like dogs, you cannot be with me. I cannot be with a man who doesn't like dogs. It's impossible. Will never work. I can only be with a man who loves dogs as much as I do, who views dogs as his children, okay, and who is extra protective of his dogs, and all beings, all animals, okay, and his children as well, his biological children as well. So, love is love, okay. When we love all beings. If you can't love one being, you can't love anyone. That's a fact. Okay? This is a psychological, biological fact. And I want to help people to introspect. I want to help people to take that journey into their own psychology, into their own soul. Okay? So that you can heal, and then you can actually have a better connection to a significant other, okay, and you can see that other person for whom they are, with all of their needs, okay, and all of their love and creativity. And that's very important to create this communion, this union, this unification. That's very important, that psychological togetherness, you know. You and I together, we are equals, we are on eye level. Yes, the blue god agrees with me. We're on eye level, and we need to look after each other. We need to look out for each other. We need to make sure the other one feels good. If you feel good, I feel good. That's love. Okay? Not this constant vigilance that I see in most men. I see most men are hyper vigilant and paranoid about someone thinking of them that they are a loser, or the woman rejecting him, or his buddies not respecting him, or society not respecting him. That's always what I'm observing on the internet, you know. That's what they're occupied with. It's like constantly going through their mind. This is total stress. You can't live your life like that. Okay? That's horror. And then out of this fear of rejection, some men go out killing women. Because they want them, but they're too afraid of the rejection, and then it escalates into a volcano eruption of unimaginable rage. And this has happened. I watch 48-hour crime reports. This is a common theme that I see. This makes up the majority of those crime reports, those cases. A man like that guy Brian, you know, he wanted that. I talked about this before in my videos. He wanted that woman so bad. He was working for her, but he couldn't get himself to go over there and make a proposal. I mean, it would have been so easy, but I say that, you know, for me it would be easy because I'm not afraid of rejection. You know, I have come on to men, I have said to men, I like you, do you like me back? And usually when I do this, they will say no. And some of them just say no just because that would make them feel like a lion, which is very sadistic, by the way. It's an act out. But happened many, many times. But then I go, okay, I accept that. I go home, I cry, I sit with it in introspection, and I move on with my life. I don't obsess over them. I don't continue to obsess over them. Even if it started out as an obsession, like I had a crush on Vin Diesel. Let's say I'll go over to Vin Diesel. Let's say I get the chance to meet him, and I'll go over and say, I really have a crush on you. How do you feel about me? So absurd, that idea, that he would ever go for someone like me. Because obviously, he's used to women with stilettos and not a feminist. So, but let's say I get to see him, and my heart is beating really fast, and I say, I like you, I take this enormous courage. It takes a lot of courage. And I go over there very, very like the total dork that I am. And I say, I love you. How do you feel about me? And he's like, who the heck are you? Never seen you before. Like, Nicola, who? Never heard about her. She's not famous. Yeah? Like that gallerist on Rodeo Drive in Beverly Hills. I show my artwork, and he says, that's interesting artwork. Are you known? No. Well, then we can have an exhibit. Oh, okay, I see. So a new artist will never have a chance then. And that's the same way with, if I meet a celebrity, and particularly if my style of clothing and my style of makeup doesn't fit into the Hollywood types, then chances are not very high that he would accept me. So I don't know. Maybe if he saw me in the jacuzzi, that would be different. But I don't know. I mean, there are so many women bombarding him, beautiful women, young women, that big boob women too. So, and he can have anyone he wants. So someone who dresses like me is probably not gonna like. But I would have the courage if I saw him in person. Not anymore. Now I'm not in love with him anymore. But back then when I was, I would have had the courage to go over there at a party or whatever, and I would sit next to him, and I would engage in a conversation, and I would say, I'm trying to force you now to engage in a conversation with me. I'm forcing a conversation on you. How do you feel about that? And then I would say, I like you. I would like to go out with you. Can we cut it? And then he can think about it, right? And then he will say, I don't know. And then I will say, okay, so you're not decided yet. I give you some space. I'll walk away. Maybe at the end of the evening, you can make up your mind what you want. I have time. I go to the all-you-can-eat buffet in the meantime. But let's say he says to me at the end of the evening, I've thought about this. You're not my type. Sorry about this. So I like the stiletto ladies better. I'll say, okay, at least I tried, right? It doesn't hurt to try. I go home, I sit on my couch, I cry. Maybe I cry for a week, right? But then I move on. I cry through it. This is also this is my chance for introspection. This is my chance of going through that inwardness meditation funnel. Okay, it's just a trigger, that's all it is. And I take that trigger, I welcome that trigger with open arms, as the Buddhists always do, you know. This is also my teacher, this is my healer, that trigger. And I sit with it, I cry through, I find myself in the process. Oh yeah, my mother did that. She was mean, she abandoned me, she was so cold. And I can cry over Vin Diesel, I can cry over my mother then. And then I go all the way through that ego dissolution funnel. I come out the other end and I have insights. I've cried it all out, feels amazing. It doesn't look so incredibly upbeat, you know, when you see that process. But I promise you a rose garden and a rhododendron garden if you do it. I promise that to you. Because that's the process. Okay, we have no other choice. So that's what we have to do. I know it is easier for women than it is for men. I see that very clearly now. I didn't understand that most of my life. I mean, for decades I was puzzled, you know. I was still puzzled a year ago. But I would say within the last 6 months, these things are all coming together now. All of these puzzle pieces are falling into place. I mean, I'm still puzzled sometimes, but I think I have most puzzle pieces now together. And I see what's going on. I see that men are under much more of a pressure cooker than women are. Way more. That has to do with their parents. That has to do particularly with their fathers, who are under the same pressure cooker and pass that same horror onto their sons, not understanding what they're doing, you know, particularly in the Muslim world, in the black communities, in the Latino communities. This is particularly severe, where the father says, man up. The entire problem begins right there. Okay. I'm not saying we need to go swing the other extreme and make girls out of boys and dress them up in dresses. Absolutely not. Okay, so let your boy dress the way he wants to. Okay, that would be a start. And don't make fun of him. Okay, if you have a boy and they find their identity very early on already, if you have a boy at age 4 and he wants to wear what mama wears, then don't let him wear stiletto shoes though. Yeah. But if he wants to have his hair long, if he wants to have girly clothes on, let him, and don't make fun of him. Okay, the moment you make fun of him, that's where you ruin that person's entire life. Okay, this is a fact. Okay, and this horror has been done to many of you out there, and this is absolutely horrific, and much worse, you know, rape and blue god degrees. Yes, this is the truth, what I'm saying. And a lot of that makes boys and men extremely neurotic. Okay, all that behavior from the parents, particularly from the fathers who are neurotic, and then society in general, and then particular demographics, particular think groups. That I'm not saying that these don't have those groups, like particular ways of, it's difficult to explain this, particular ways of like culture ideas that are being put on the children. This happens in all demographics. Okay, so particular think groups in that sense, that let's say in the same demographic there could be different think groups. There could be one society that leans more towards education and intellectualism, okay, and they will be much more lenient with how their children are dressing. Then the other group will be less educated and less well read, and they will be more religious, and they will be more clinging towards certain family values. I can only put this in quotation marks, so there's no way I can say this word without quotation marks, because this is a word. These are words I don't use. These are terminologies I don't use. Okay. Family values, or throw that in the recycling bin. Okay, altogether, it's ridiculous. I'm not saying we need to go the other extreme then, into the extreme liberal. All of this is neurotic. Yeah, we have to understand this. We have to understand that wokeism is extreme neurosis, and it has also been deliberately put into the world by the corporate agenda. It has been rubbed in, it has been exacerbated by the corporate agenda. As a chess move, it's just greed. It's a corporate chess move. The pharma, the medical industry, they make money on that, okay? They make money on people's surgeries and so on. So question all of this, okay? You have to love your body the way it is. And this is my plea to the whole world, no matter who anyone is. Whether they're gender dysphoric or they love their bodies, okay? Do not have surgery done. Do not go to a surgeon and have surgery done, okay? Never do surgery. That's mutilation. That's horror movie. Don't do it. It's extremely painful. Don't do it. So, I saw some people talk about this. This has come now into the limelight of the world. This is an epidemic. You see it all the time on Twitter, on YouTube, and I've watched a few of those reports from people, and they have gone through total terror and horror. Okay, and they regret it and all of that. So, don't do it. Love your body the way it is. People have always loved their bodies the way they were before all of that insanity started to happen. So, and yeah, you can do it, absolutely. I mean, a man can have extremely long hair or groom his hair beautifully and wear girly clothes. There's nothing wrong with that. A lot of women like that. And some men like that, so he will not be alone. And look at Jeffree Star, he's not going to have surgery done. Okay, so he says he's an alien. Okay, I respect that. So I don't like stiletto shoes, but I respect him. Okay, so, and that's a role model for the world. Okay, you can do it like that. You can love yourself, even if you are a girly man, you can love yourself the way you are, okay? And some of these girly men, believe it or not, some of them later on in their lives find a woman to love, okay? And those that had surgery done, they deeply regret it. Trust me on this one, so don't do it. And women should never ever mutilate their bodies. Never cut your boobs off, okay? Never, ever. These are presents from the infinite cosmos, okay? This is beauty. This is love. This is the mother. This is the mother. The mothers in my body, okay? These are the mother aspects of my body. Okay, and I love it. It's beautiful, okay? I'm infinitely grateful for it. I feel very sorry for women who cannot accept their bodies. Okay, I feel infinitely sorry for you. It must be horrible. But please don't mutilate yourself. Please, please, please. And also, please don't tattoo yourself. Don't cut holes into your body. Don't go along with society or peer pressure. Question all of this. This is me, the Mother Nicola, is telling you this, is urging you, okay? I love you, I care about you, all of you, all. There are so many things I want to talk about. There's so many things that are constantly going through my mind with all of this, you know. We have to love ourselves the way we are. If you feel unhappy, you can sit on the couch and cry. Cry about it. Trust me, you're not going to be stuck with this. You're not going to be stuck crying. You're going to move on. You're going to move forward. Whatever your situation is. It doesn't matter what your situation is. Childhood trauma, trouble with people, problems with your job, gender dysphoria, fear of cars, fear of men, whatever the problem is. Agoraphobia. I have a little bit agoraphobia, but I have more claustrophobia, but these two things don't cancel each other out. One can have both, actually. So whatever problems we have, you know, don't try to cut it away. You can't. It's there. Sit with it. Whatever problem, whatever situation it is, or you're a gambler or whatever, or you're poor, or you're too mentally ill to work, or whatever the situation is, sit down, let go, sit down and breathe, okay? So I want to get a rock out. I want to get a rock. I have a rock here. Here's a rock that I wanted to use. It's a rock I wanted to use for this video. So here's a rock. I've used this rock before. It matches my sweater. So this is a beautiful, beautiful ocean jade that I found a couple of years ago. And I want to use this ocean jade as my ASMR brain soothing, because this is beautiful. It's a beautiful present to make a video like this. The rock is a present for you in this video. The video is a present for you, you know, to calm down the brain. I'm an energy healer. Okay, I've gone through a lot in my life. And I can say that. I can really say this without exaggeration. I have gone through hellish, worst hell you can imagine, psychologically. Over and over and over again in many different situations. So I learned, I cried, I moved through, and I continue to learn and cry and moving through. This is a never-ending process, but I have come to the point now with all of that inwardness meditation that I can say I am an energy healer now. I really am. I can help people on many different levels, psychologically, and with herbs, with clays, with crystals, and with energy healing, with my own energy. My artwork radiates out a healing energy. This sounds cocky and it sounds cliche and it sounds braggish, right? It does, but it's the truth. I'm telling you the truth. My artwork, I said it once to a guy that I wanted him to do an exhibit of my artwork. And he had this horrible look on his face when I said that my artwork has healing power. I guess that probably it rang the bell of, like, it went against his Christian religion. And it sounded like paganism or something. So, no, forget religion. Please question it, right? I mean, please. So, all we need to know is love, kindness, healing, making artwork, make your own healing artwork. You can do it. You can do it if you're in the right mental state. Okay. Cry things out and then paint. And do it over and over and over again. Meditate, cry things out. Then once you cry things out, you're able to actually paint something, and something that means something to you, and make an alien spaceship. And paint your own God, but forget about religion. Paint that what you want to see. Paint your Savior. However you want to picture that Savior. You don't have to go by the Bible or any religious book, or how other people depict that Savior. The picture of Jesus Christ, those are wrong. That's a mistake. Okay, that is not Jesus Christ. That was a merchant sailor from the south of France. Okay, that's why he had light hair and light eyes and very light skin. Jesus Christ was not light-skinned. Okay, the actual Jesus Christ looked like, let me see if I can find someone in Hollywood that could possibly portray how the actual Jesus Christ looked. Saddam Hussein. There you have it. Okay. Or maybe Muammar Gaddafi. Okay, so probably more like Muammar Gaddafi. That's how Jesus Christ looked like. He never got the chance to get older as Muammar. Guess what happened to Muammar Gaddafi? Okay, he wanted to make the world a better place and he got murdered. Just like Jesus Christ. Okay, so that's an older soul. That's unheard of in the Middle East. People loved him because he really cared about the community. The corporate agenda killed him because he wanted to create a different currency. He wanted to share. He wanted to give all people money. He wanted to help everyone economically. So the corporate agenda, the Rothschild dynasty, no, they don't want someone to have a different currency with backed up value to the monetary system. They didn't want that to happen. So all of this is going on in the world because the human, the majority of humans are not well. They are driven by fear of economic problems or financial problems. And so this fear drives them into greed, and the greed drives them into callousness and coldness, like someone who is on fire running through a burning building. Okay. And we can heal this, okay? We can heal all of this. This can be healed. It's a beautiful rock. You have to love yourself. Danny too. You have to love yourself the way you are. If someone criticizes you, it's not because of your looks. And you can, instead of getting mad at criticism, you can introspect. Okay? You can say to yourself, let me think about this for a moment, okay? On the couch, instead of lashing out, beating a woman or backstabbing her with different troll accounts or whatever. So introspect. Sit down and introspect instead of lashing it out at someone else. It's very important that you do that. It's very important. This is real soft. Feels really good on the skin. It's a beautiful, beautiful rock. And the hater who said, I don't know who it was, Danny or Zane or Philip or whoever, that could be someone else. I don't know who it was, but someone on Twitter said that it would break him to be kind. I mentioned this in the end of my last video. And I asked the question, why is that? So you have not answered that question. Not even from your troll accounts, not even from any other account on Twitter or Facebook or YouTube. You have not answered. Maybe you don't know why. Okay. But I want you to find out why. I want you to introspect and find out why that is. Why would it break you to be kind to a woman or any living being? Why would it break you if you lived your life in kindness, with kindness, being kind to all living beings, not react, not lash out? What would happen then if you did that? You're kind, and then how does it feel? You go up to a woman and you say, I like you. And she may be in an angry mood in that moment. Don't take it personally, you know. You can say, oh, I see you're angry. Do you want to talk about it? Or if she says no, then you can say, okay, well, maybe we can talk about it tomorrow. I'm here for you. Yeah. How does it feel if you did that? How does it feel to be kind, to be there for her? So, yeah, I'll let you think about this. Sit down in meditation. Think about this for an hour every day. Take a rock from the ocean or the desert or wherever you live. Go into nature. Find a rock. You can find any rock. Okay. There are ground down rocks in rivers sometimes. Ocean rocks and rivers, real beautiful ones. You can find a little pebble maybe. Doesn't matter, Find a rock. Rocks that they radiate out healing energy. You hold it in your hand and you meditate with it. Forget about society, peer pressure, and all of that. Sit with it. Doesn't matter whether your dad told you to man up. Forget what your dad said. That's neurosis. That has nothing to do with masculinity. Masculinity is taking charge of your life. A man who is protective, who protects animals and women. I find that very, very masculine. A man who lashes out, not masculine. That's neurotic. I find that wimpy. Okay, so sit down, understand that acting out is not moving you forward. Sit down with whatever it feels. Whatever amount. The moment you have this hope again, you start into the act out. Drop that hope. Just for an hour per day, drop the hope. You wanted a specific woman, you can't have her. Maybe you're the one who ruined it, but you won't even acknowledge it. Right? That's a problem. Acknowledge it. Sit down with it. Don't beat yourself up. You did it out of your mental illness. Sit down with it and sit. You don't have to cry if you can't cry. You don't force yourself to cry. Don't force anything. Just sit down with how that feels, all of that. That you messed up the connection with your neurosis, and the woman is just protecting herself, So sit with it, leave her alone, leave her out of this. Sit with it in meditation, go into your own mind. And you can ask the question, how does it feel? How do I feel right now? How does it feel to be kind and not lash out? What kind of feelings are coming up? What comes up from the past? Does anything from the past come up? Doesn't have to. Let it come up the way it comes up. Don't judge it, don't get scared. It just wants to communicate with you. Okay? The tears, there could be a terrible thought coming up, or maybe a bad memory, maybe a brain terror thing from the past, maybe some trauma, maybe something that feels really bad from childhood. Let it run through the brain, okay, all the way through. You can cry if you want to. Nobody judges you. Okay, I hug you for that, for crying. Okay. Give you a cyber hug for crying. Okay. I pet your face for that. So, give you a cyber hug. And let the pain run through, and after that, for about an hour, after that, take a notebook. I think it's important to take a notebook, because that's something you can always grab in the middle of the night, and take a pen and write down your thoughts. It helps to do this. It also helps to, when you read it later on, it helps to see your own evolution in the healing, on the healing path, the healing journey. So try to do this. If you do this, your life will become better. You're gonna be, the most important thing is you get on the healing path. Okay, that's the most important thing. Okay. Quit the alcohol, quit all the substances, quit all of that. Quit the act outs, Quit the toxic people, okay, the peer pressuring people. Don't hang out with those anymore. Go into your own mind. Go for walks. Go meet animals in the wild. Talk to a deer, talk to a horse. They will appreciate that. Okay. You're not alone. If you are nice, there will be a living being, could be a woman, who will appreciate that deeply. Okay, so much love.